your library book at the library.
That was one of the desires of the discussion 10, 15 years ago.
I wasn't here for it.
I know.
So I hadn't heard that.
So you get one invoice, that you get your basketball, hall rental
That
fee,
must be
your library
following.
book, your water sewer, you get everybody all on one. But that would totally upend your accounting. Yes,
Just
please,
like to ask
Rebecca.
that question, if I may, Rebecca Landry, the IMS director. There are a number of ways to go about that, and there are a number of variables in that formula. One is to have a kiosk, and it's a lot easier nowadays to create a very affordable kiosk in a place like a police department lobby or a library lobby. And that might be one way that the public could, as long as the service is provided online, so whether it's a library fine or a parking ticket or whatever it may be, you could easily have a kiosk. That might be one way to solve that problem, a lot easier than it would have been to do it 15 years ago. Taking into consideration that the software applications that are in use at the library are not at the disposal of the staff at the police department. So they may not be able to pull up a record that shows that there is a payable due from another department. I think the kiosk approach might be a better way to do that if we go down that road. It's possible that people who have access to the internet won't be looking for kiosks. They'll be able to do it from their smart TVs.
Yes.
But there is a potential that the city will lose money on this, because when it comes to, we had discussed it, when it comes to property tax, some of the people, depending on their credit card or whatever, will just pay their property tax on the credit card instead of paying it late and the city collecting the 12%. So it may be a small amount or whatever, but to go and tell the people there will be no loss whatsoever, there will be a risk that you'll have less late fines or less late interest on property taxes because people will use the credit card, so.
On that same side, we may very well have less costs associated with
Going after it.
going after them, but it is true that someone may opt to put their taxes on their credit card because its interest rate is less than ours.
Anything further?
I think it's great. I don't know that it was gonna impact the tax collection as much as other fees, because the majority of us, the banks collecting our taxes and sending it in electronically, unless you're like Rich, he's paying his buck to get air miles, but it seems to me that it's the beginning of a process that's gonna, if the kiosk is the answer, that's, now we have to have the same number of people waiting on customers. Pretty slick.
The ability to put services on the web, I think, pretends to present lots of opportunities.
Sounds intriguing, yes.
One more note is just that whether or not it takes more time internally to process these transactions, that's a major criteria we're using in selecting payment providers. We don't want providers who are going to make us key in every transaction that somebody else does online. That sort of defeats the purpose. So that's a major consideration.
My consideration is the percentage that the people are going to be charged to use the system. They obviously have the option not to use the system. So,
May I respond?
yes.
Beth and IMS and others have been looking at both payment gateway solutions as well as some middleware. So we could use a provider that is sort of the middleman between us and the payment gateway, who is accustomed to working with government organizations and knows of government rates that are available that the payment gateways don't necessarily deal with on a regular basis. And so Point and Pay is one of the organizations we're working, potentially going to work with, and they are very familiar with the rates that are available to governments that are closer to 2%, but that doesn't mean necessarily we'll be able to get there.
I would assume that the process will be bumpy at first, will get smooth, and then it will get really well done, and get more efficient, and prices go down, and everything gets better.
We've talked about also working with some middleware providers that are willing to bring some people here and be with us as we roll this out. Again, another consideration as we're looking at possible providers.
I'm glad that you're moving, this is good. Anything, committee, public? Are you? Okay. Who's next? Yes, there's a question.
Do I have
One of
to-
you-
Okay.
Or stand for.
Yeah, I'm hoping that yes, Bradford Hutchinson, Elm Street. You were mentioning kiosk. Are you talking about a physical payment kiosk? Sorry, I know I'm supposed to address the chair. Sorry, guys. It's a simple question. I was hearing the payment kiosk. Is that like a physical kiosk? Is that what I'm hearing? The clarification question.
Thank you. Which one?
There are no specific plans for kiosks right now, but if they were on the table, there would be a physical computer.
No plans for, but
Right, yeah,
that's
it
what
would
you
be a
mean by,
physical
you don't
computer
mean a
enabled.
digital online kiosk.
Correct.
You're talking about theoretically, hypothetically, we could have a payment kiosk, theoretically.
Yes.
And hypothetically, could be something similar in idea to the parking ticket kiosk, something like that, theoretically.
No, it would be computer.
Well, no, I mean, in terms of a physical payment location with a card swiper and
Sure.
something ATM-ish for payments. And where I'm going with this is, with the court moving to the new court building, there's a potential for some space opening up in this building. And also we have, and I don't want to step on Chief Miola's toes, certainly. I don't think he's going to let me do that. He's a good guy. We have the, I'm not sure what it's called right out here on the sidewalk, you know, where the little police substation with the call box, that location or the court opening up, if we're gonna go to a physical payment location kiosk, you know, we'd like to have it downstairs where the payments are made, but those are two other options to look at for a down the road kind of thing. And just while I'm up here running my mouth, we do need to go digital, but I do want to be careful with it, to not impose it too quickly in a way. If we can make it more voluntary, and bear in mind, there will be people out there for whatever reason that will not want to go digital. So if it can be something that is offered, at least initially we're offering, and then the ones most likely to want to do this, they're going to jump right on board, and we can keep the old paper payment and have a smoother transition that way. And I'm pretty sure that most people are on the same page with that, and if not by now, everybody is. Those are just a couple of questions and points that I wanted to raise, that I was thinking about it. I'm trying to understand all this stuff, and I think that this will work out. We're still new in the digital age, you know, and relatively speaking, and we need to be forward-looking here. I think we'll work it out. We got some good people working on this stuff. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you, Brad. Anything further from the committee, from the public?
I think so. Okay. Move that the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommend authorizing pursuant to RSA 80:52-c, the treasurer to do all things necessary to provide for accepting payments of local taxes, charges generated by the sale of utility services, or other fees and charges by use of credit card, debit card, or e-check, and to permit the issuance of electronic tax and utility bills as an alternative to first-class mail when a taxpayer or customer requests such delivery. In addition, authorization is also recommended to allow the use of the city logo as part of any electronic payment portal or similar item related to electronic invoicing or payments.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Anything from the committee, from the public? None, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda, we have a resolution. It's called Resolution R 2013-25. This is regarding an application for a CDBG grant funds, Community Development Block Grant funding. Ms. Jonas, can you come forward, introduce yourself, and tell us what it's about?
Community Development, King Housing and Community Development Block Grant Program. This is an application from King Housing for one of its developments, Meadow Road, which is next to the new Brookbend development. Meadow Road was developed in about 1982, and it's at the point where it needs some work, and as with so many of these things, the The rents have not allowed it to keep pace with some of the improvements. And what we saw in this particular round, I myself regard this as very unfortunate, but the CDFA did very few, almost no economic development grants last year. And as a result, they have, well, depending on the budget, but potentially this is going to be a large round. And so we saw this opportunity to try to get the needs of this property. The needs include replacing the roof, replacing the window, we want to replace the heating system and the distribution system, and completely repave the parking lot.